It's easiest for us to import data when that data is presented to us in a spreadsheet, like a CSV file. What about if the data is on a website? So that can be very difficult if it's a complicated website, especially if it's generated by something like JavaScript. But here, this is a nice basic website, so we should expect that we'll be able to import this data without too much trouble. So this data, it shows school districts in California together with cities and county names. So let's try to import that. So here I've pasted in the URL for this website, and I'm going to try to import that. So right now we can see that it's working over here on the right. Okay, it finished. And let's see how this got imported. Let's evaluate head of the variable name I assigned to it. So it got imported as a string. And let's look at that string. Okay, it definitely has the information we want. And later we'll see how we can extract that information using string patterns. But instead, I want to show us how we can extract the information using some built-in functionality in Mathematica. So rather than just using the automated import, I'm going to also tell Mathematica I want to import this as data. So I'm running it again. Finished. Now let's see how this SCH looks in this case. Now it's a list. And we can see it's kind of a complicated list. And here is where the information that we want starts. So let me show you a nice trick for getting to this information. I'm going to try to find what is the position inside of this complicated list. I mean, it looks like a list of lists of lists. So I'm going to ask, what is the position inside that of this school district? Okay, and I'm making a little mistake here, but it would be hard to recognize what that mistake is. So I've copied this. I'm going to paste it as a string. And it says that doesn't exist in my list of lists here. Why not? Well, let's go back to look at this SCH. So if I'm looking for a specific string, I really need to pay attention to this white space at the beginning and at the end. So let me add an extra space at the beginning and at the end. Okay, now it has shown up. And you might wonder, why are these two sets of braces on the outside? And that's because in general, this is going to be a list of all of the positions where it shows up. But this is so specialized, we should only expect it to show up once. So this is a list of positions, but I only care about the first entry in the list of positions, okay, which is going to be the first, and in our case, the only place where this ABC Unified School District shows up. So I'm copying this position. And let me show you how I can access that. I can access it using the extract command. So it doesn't seem very helpful. I mean, all I got was that original string that I searched for. But if I delete the last term, okay, now I've found like the innermost list that contained that ABC Unified School District. So still not super helpful, but if I delete also the last one again, the last number again, now I have something really helpful. This is a list that contains all of these different triples that I'm interested in. Okay, here's the first triple of school district, city, county. Here's the second triple that I'm interested in, and so on. So you might be annoyed that I skipped this first one. So let's get rid of that first one. Let's call this how about temp, because I'm going to change it very soon. And so if I look at the first thing in temp, okay, I don't really care about that. That's like a header line. So let's say from 2. And then if I just leave this blank, that's going to say from 2 to the end. So I've gotten rid of that first triple, which was a different format from the others, or at least a different meaning from the others. Okay, this is great. Let's call this how about data. And now let's ask how often, or I'll phrase it two different ways. First is how often does orange occur for Orange County? Second way is how many school districts are there in Orange County? Those are two different ways of asking the same question. So how often does orange occur in this structure? That's less interesting but easier to answer, but it has the exact same answer as the more interesting question of how many school districts are there in Orange County. So let's count data. And here's one way to do it. I can count all these triples where the last entry is orange. So there's a list of how many school districts there are in Orange County. And if I look at cases, okay, here are the 33 school districts in Orange County. And if I call this first position X, hey, I can replace all of those by X. Hey, here are all of the school districts in Orange County, and I've gotten rid of some of that redundant data.